Welcome to Dave's Digital Training, where we show you how it's done. What I want to talk about this time is how to correct an image with a color cast. Now, this picture of the boat appears to have a blue color cast. Now, some people may have a hard time seeing that cast, and this technique I'm going to show you will help you not only see if a picture has a color cast, but will also aid you in being able to correct that color cast. So the first thing I need to do is get my layers palette up here. And in the layers palette, I want to duplicate this layer. And I'm just going to click on it, drag it down here to the little turn corner piece of paper is, right here. And I'm going to drop it there. And we're going to now see that we have two layers. Now I need to convert this top layer to a black and white. So I'm going to go on up to Image. I'm going to go down to Adjust. And I'm going to go here to Desaturate. And I'm going to click on that. And we can now see that we have a black and white of the color image. Now what I want to do is I want to punch a hole through this black and white so I can compare the color of the boat in the colored image to the color of the boat in the black and white image. And to do that, I need to use the Mosaic Tool, which is right over here. And I'm going to drag that out. Whoops. Missed it. And come on out, and I'm going to drag across the image, and I want to drag across so that I can see the white of the boat, some of the bank, and some of the colors in the image. And I have to have the majority of the image be black and white for this to work, but I want a good cross section of the colors, and I want to make sure that I have the best whites in the image in this area. Now if I just go out and hit the delete key now, you can see that it made a hole right through the black and white. Now I want to get rid of this dotted box, and if I don't get rid of this dotted box, it will give us problems later. So you want to make sure that you go on up and go to Select and say Deselect to get rid of the dotted line. Now I can turn this on and off. There's the original, and when we turn on the black and white, it becomes very obvious that the picture has a blue cast. Even though the color image is here, the hull should still be almost neutral white, even in the color image, and we can see here that it isn't. It has a really strong blue cast. So what we want to try and do is adjust to get rid of that. And what the black and white is going to help us do is it's going to give us something to compare to as we're adjusting it, and we want to try and get the white in the hull of the black and white as close as possible to the hull in the color image. Now we're going to fix this color cast by using the color balance tool, which is going to be right down here. But before I select that, up here it's really important. You can see when I click on these layers, whichever layer is blue is the layer that's selected. When you add an adjustment layer, it will go above the selected layer. And this adjustment layer has to go between the color and the black and white. So you want to make sure you click on the bottom one, then come down and put color balance in. And we can see now that the color balance is between these two. So when we adjust it, it's only going to adjust the color image. It isn't going to affect the black and white. Now it's getting pretty crowded in here, but that's not an issue because all we have to be able to do is to see these relationships in here. Now I'm going to move this over and down just a little bit so we can get a better view of the hull. Now, the hull in the color picture should be almost the same color as the black and white. It should be a neutral white or a gray. And we can see here that it isn't, that we have a strong blue cast. So we need to get rid of this blue cast. And how do we do that? Well, we have to come down here and look at the color balance palette. You can see that we have blue over here and we have yellow over here. Now, whichever direction we move this, if we move it that way, it will increase the yellow. If we move this way, it will decrease the blue. Now I'm going to start with the highlight. That's usually where I start. And we've already identified that blue is too much, so I'm going to slide the slider towards the yellow. Now you're not going to be able to correct it all with just this one slider, but you can see that it's looking a little bit better. Now I'm going to come on up, and I can see it looks a little too green, So I'm going to move the magenta over a little bit. There you go. And now I'm going to come on up to the red, and I'm not sure which way, so I'm just going to move it back and forth. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Looks like we might need a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Now we can see that it hasn't got quite as severe a blue cast, but we're going to get down to the shadow and see what we can do there. So in the shadow area now, I'm going to slide a little bit more yellow in. Then I'm going to come on up, and I'm going to move the green back and forth. That's looking pretty good. And now I'm going to take the red and move the red back and forth. We can now see that the color in the boat is looking a lot better. Now, I don't always do it, but this time I think I'm going to do the mid-tone. So I'm going to come on into mid-tone, and I'm going to push that in there a little bit. Move this back and forth. There we go. It's starting to really come now. Now that's a pretty close match. Those are very close in color now. And what we did is we just looked at these. We didn't look at anything else that was happening in the image. So now I'm going to say, OK. And we can see here's the palette. Now I'm going to turn off the black and white mask. And there's our corrected image. Now here it is without the correction. There it is with the correction. Here's the mask. I'm going to move this out of the way so we can see the whole image. Get rid of the black and white mask. There's the uncorrected image. There's the corrected image. Now if I turn the correction off, turn the mask back on, we can then still see how severe that blue cast was. And it's now easy to identify that cast because we have a black and white image to compare it to. And the whites and the blacks should be the same value in the color image as they would be in the black and white image. Now I'm going to turn the correction back on, and we can see that we've pretty much made those values as close as we can. And then I'm going to turn off the mask, and that's all there is to it. I think this is a pretty elegant little way to see and fix color casts. This is Dave, and thanks for watching this presentation.